When the MCU's Phase 3 finished with Endgame, many people thought that we'd be winding down into a steady cadence of smaller shows. We've had great movies since, like Spider-Man No Way Home, but the fans are now hungry for the next big arc that kicks us into the top gear of Phase 4. Thankfully though, it seems like we won't have to wait much longer for it. First up, Marvel's production plans have been leaked. Over the past year or so, Marvel has slowly gotten better at hiding its future plans from the world. And this is why the Marvel Cinematic Universe is such a well-oiled machine at this point, that nothing is off the table for what plot twists we'll see in the upcoming movies. Not only that, but denying rumors is straight up their thing now. We're looking at you, Andrew Garfield. But the fact of the matter is that this secrecy does add to the excitement for the audience as we slowly see these incredible stories unravel over a number of TV shows and movies. However, while keeping the stories under wraps is a walk in the park for Marvel, hiding the actual production plans perhaps isn't. We've seen leaked photos from sets and schedules for movies time and time again for their upcoming productions. And at this point, it's kinda unavoidable since these movies are so massive that you'll always have cracks for things to leak through. This is exactly what has happened this time around, as well as the filming schedules for upcoming Marvel movies like Guardians of the Galaxy Vol.3 and series like Echo have been leaked. Next, Phase 4 of the MCU is closer than we'd expected. Now, you may be wondering, what significance do filming schedules have? How does knowing when a movie is being shot point towards something greater? Well, you see, Marvel operates in a very methodical manner, and everything that they do is carefully planned. And movie schedules are super important in that regard since they can point toward the order of events in the Marvel Universe. Enough explaining though, let's get to the actual leak. A credible source for such information, Atlanta Filming, has revealed that Guardians of the Galaxy Vol.3 will be done with its filming by the first week of May. If you need a refresher, this movie is currently slated to come out next year in May, so that's a pretty long time between filming and release. But perhaps even more interesting is the fact that the Hawkeye spin-off series Echo will begin filming right after they wrap up with Guardians 3. Wait a minute though, why is Echo, a series that was just recently announced with the release of Hawkeye, starting production before Armor Wars? That sounds kinda fishy, no? After all, Armor Wars is all about dealing with the aftermath of Tony Stark's death and Don Cheadle's War Machine coming to terms with it. Why would they drag that series out so much? Also, remember Secret Invasion? What happened to that? Are these signs pointing toward the X-Men in MCU? There can be a million reasons why a company is filming one series ahead of another. But when it's Marvel, a company that doesn't seem to miss a beat when it comes to this stuff, you can't help but wonder what's cooking. We've already seen that Greek gods are making their way to the MCU with Zeus in Thor: Love and Thunder. What other new characters could we see entering the fray with this new lineup of upcoming movies? Over the past few years, we've seen little hints of mutants coming into the MCU, and in the latest trailer for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, we even got to hear the iconic voice of Sir Patrick Stewart's Professor X. And of course, with other new characters like Miss Marvel and She-Hulk also joining the lineup, things could ramp up pretty quickly. But we all know what everyone wants to see. It's the return of the X-Men. Is it possible that these space-time shattering multiverse portals will bring anomalies into our world, resulting in the X-Men being born? And from that point, we could kick into the massive arc as we did with Avengers all those years ago. Are X-Men even a part of Phase 4? Now, Marvel calls the current state of movies coming out Phase 4 as well. But we know that it doesn't actually start until certain events have been set in motion to introduce us to the X-Men. We've already seen hints of mutants in this current universe in movies like Shang-Chi and Eternals. But if we're calling this current slew of movies and shows Phase 4, then perhaps the real jump to the X-Men is still many years away. We know from Disney's own schedule that the current phase is supposed to last for at least a couple more years, and if this is really the world-building phase for the next set of heroes in the MCU, then we shouldn't expect the X-Men to make their way into the universe anytime soon. But regardless of that fact, it's still super exciting to think how the X-Men are portrayed in the MCU and how Kevin Feige's team treats them in comparison to their older movies. Not only that, but probably the most exciting prospect of all of this is the fact that the X-Men's villains are arguably far more compelling and powerful as compared to other Marvel bad guys. Enough about that though, let's take a look at what else is happening in Marvel land. Saudi Arabia bans Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Doctor Strange had a pretty big role in Spider-Man No Way Home, and if you sat through the ending of the movie, you probably saw all the chaos that ensued when portals to alternate realities started opening. And if you were a fan of that, rejoice, because you're getting an entire movie about that whole thing unless you live in Saudi Arabia. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is right around the corner, corner and is one of the most highly anticipated movies of the latest MCU arc. The movie sends our favorite wizard into a wild journey through different realms and realities as he fights through some of the most bizarre things, like an evil version of himself. Who wouldn't want to watch that? Apparently, the Saudi Arabian censor board doesn't really like the idea of that, and has thus decided to ban the movie in the country. We know that Saudi Arabia is a pretty conservative country when it comes to things like gay rights, and this is exactly what's happened here too. The new Doctor Strange movie has a gay character called America Chavez, who's being played by actor Xochitl Gomez, and we guess that was enough for the censor board to ban the entire movie. This isn't the first Marvel project to be banned in the country though, as the Eternals was also banned earlier this year for having a gay superhero. It's a shame though, since a lot of Saudi Arabian Marvel fans were really looking forward to watching this movie. We hope that Disney can maybe do a special digital release for those people in the country. Next, Moon Knight director explains the lack of MCU connection. Disney Plus has been on a roll for a couple of years, bringing incredible high-quality shows that could honestly rival their big-budget movies to the streaming service. And currently, the show of the moment is Moon Knight. People are absolutely loving this new darker tone to a Marvel show, and of course, Oscar Isaac is just great at everything he does. But one thing that's been sorely missing from Moon Knight is any connection to the wider Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's actually kind of bizarre how much the show avoids talking about other events in the MCU, when every other Disney Plus show and movie dives right into that stuff. According to the Moon Knight director Aaron Moorhead, though, the choice to keep this character separate allowed them to be more creative with the concept. Since there were no expectations on Moon Knight, the show could be anything and could have a completely different tone from the rest of the MCU. Not only that, but since the character is an outsider, they could take a riskier approach with him. And it seems like that choice has paid dividends as well, since everyone seems to absolutely adore the show. Up next, James Gunn made some changes to the Thor: Love and Thunder script. Thor: Love and Thunder's reveal trailer blew everyone's minds with just how good it was. It seems like Taika Waititi just doesn't miss, and judging from what we saw in the trailer, this movie will most definitely be an absolute blast. But Taika Waititi isn't the only one pulling the strings for the new Thor adventure. James Gunn, who's currently deep into production of Guardians Vol.3, took to Twitter to answer some fan questions. And when asked whether he had any say in how the Guardians of the Galaxy are portrayed in Thor: Love and Thunder, he confirmed that he adjusted a few things here and there. Of course, Star-Lord's crew are James Gunn's babies, and we're sure Taika Waititi wouldn't have minded any additional input from the Guardians of the Galaxy director. That's a wrap for this video. What sort of changes do you think James Gunn should have made to Thor: Love and Thunder's script? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.